everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl, Golden. I am 26 years old, working full-time as a senior marketing specialist. I have big goals to build my Airbnb company, invest, and use the cash stuffing method to become financially free. So on today's episode, I'm super excited to be finally doing a highly requested Q&A video. I have gotten so many questions over the course of cash stuffing for the past year and a half, and I'm here to finally answer all of your most frequently asked questions. I will also be doing an in-depth deep dive of my categories, so I'll be explaining every single envelope and what it's for. You're gonna notice timestamps in this video. I clumped all the questions by a bucket of like commonly asked questions, so you can go ahead and skip to like the question that you might be interested in. But also the last part of this video is going to be the deep dive for my category, so if that's something that you're more so interested in, feel free to skip to whichever point in the video that works for you. First things first, I want to say thank you to everyone who's commented on my videos, especially the ones that are really sweet and so kind. I'm so thankful to the community for being so uplifting throughout my journey on YouTube. I genuinely did not anticipate having the growth that I've had in a year and a half, and it really makes me want to be a better version of myself for me and for you guys, because you guys are watching my journey and how I spend my money. So I just want to say thank you for all the kind comments. It seriously does keep me going. With that being said, the very first question is why cash stuffing? So I have two comments here from Matey's Budget. What made you start your budgeting journey, and what are your tips for a successful YouTube channel? Your videos are always so satisfying to watch. Your budgeting goals. Thank you. And then Lissa1764 says, hi, I love the video. I'm just wondering, what is the main purpose of doing this? I'm new to the community and have only just started my journey by doing the 100 envelope challenge. So I'm just wondering why you prefer doing your finances this way. I do everything else within my finances on my mobile banking app, as I am nervous about having all my money in binders laying around the house. I'm thinking about starting my finances, or some of them, this way, but I'm not sure how to start. Thank you. Okay, so this question's gonna lead into kind of a rabbit hole, just because the reason I started cash stuffing was because I got laid off in January of 2022. I was a year out of college and I was laid off living in one of the most expensive cities in the United States. So in New York, I ended up staying from January all the way until the end of April, because my lease ended April 30th, and I really just wanted to take the time to see if I could find a new job in New York. I actually ended up finding a job in California, so I ended up moving home in May of 2022, and that's when I finally could like decompress from living alone in New York to finally being back with my parents. And I realized how irresponsible I was with money. I think that was like the big light bulb for me. At the time, I was getting paid $70K for my job, and I had an internship, so I was getting paid $20 an hour for 20 hours a week. I was working a lot, and I was also babysitting, so I definitely was making more money because my rent was so high too. It was $2,000 a month. And as you know, you should always stay within 30% of your income to live comfortably. And I was definitely at like 35, almost maybe 40%. So definitely do not recommend doing that. It led me to the path of cash stuffing. So in August of 2022 is when I began cash stuffing, and I'm coming up on that mark in a few months. So during that time, I was $16,000 in student loan debt, and I had only maybe like $3,000 in my bank account, which was not a lot of money, guys, considering how much I had made. I ended up watching, I don't even know what happened, maybe it was a sign from God, but I had videos pop up on my For You page. I'm sure that's probably what happened on YouTube. And I started watching cash budgeters like Aya Plans and Daisy's Budget, Lily's Budgets, and I just fell in love with the process of physically cash stuffing my paychecks by watching them. And so it's kind of crazy to see that almost 2 years later, I've grown my own channel and inspired other people to start cash stuffing as well. Like, it's such a surreal moment. So I'm really thankful. So that's why I started cash stuffing. So to answer your questions, what are a few tips for a successful YouTube channel? Honestly, I say post it. Literally just post your content, because you get better as time goes on and you become more confident in front of the camera and what you're doing. And so all of this I've learned over time. All I have to say is just do it. Just post it. 1 year from now, you're gonna look back and be like, I'm so glad I posted that, even though it wasn't perfect, because I know sometimes you want to be a perfectionist and like edit it perfectly, have the best intros or whatever. Honestly, what will drive you towards success is actually being consistent with uploading your content. So that would be my advice. Later in the video, I do go into more about my setup and things like that, but we'll probably get to that near the end. And then for Alyssa here, I totally understand how nerve-wracking it is to have money at home, because I had the exact same thought when I first started cash stuffing. So if I were you, put it in a place that you feel comfortable hiding it or like protecting it. I will say this, I work at home. I'm fully remote for my job, so I'm not super concerned about my money being home because I'm always home. Obviously, be careful and do the things that make you feel comfortable to protect your money. The reason why I prefer cash stuffing is because I've always been a digital budgeter. I love Google Sheets. Throughout all of college, even high school, I tracked all of my income and my expenses. My Google Sheets now are miles and miles apart, guys. Like, it is insanely different from my very first iteration of a budget sheet to now. So I am super proud of the Google Sheets that I sell, because I actually use it and I have my friends and family use it too. So sorry guys, I'm re-recording this. Essentially what I'm trying to say is the reason why I started cash stuffing is because all of the years of me being a digital budgeter, I did not get any better at saving at all. And so after being inspired by the YouTube community here, I decided to cash stuff. And what I've learned with cash stuffing is playing with tangible money makes you more inclined to want to hold on to it. So I think with cash stuffing, it's really helped me to physically track my money and in a way experience the pain of spending money. So highly recommend giving it a try. So on to the next question. This is going to be about buying and how do I like unstuff my expenses. So Bella Underwood says, hi, so when you go to spend money in variable expenses, do you bring the whole binder with you where you go? So I do not bring my binder. I am a credit card spender. So I spend everything on my credit card, and then I come home and I unstuff the money from my binder so that I can make sure that I stay within my budget. I know that seems a little bit tedious, but for me, it works because it's more of like a mindful practice for me to practice taking that money out of my binders and bringing it back to the bank. It's more effort. So in turn, it also makes me not want to spend money. There have been studies shown that there's an increase in spending when using credit cards. And when you spend money in cash, you're more likely to hold on to money because it physically hurts more to let go of it. Once you start cash stuffing, you feel the exact same way. All right, so then Sab3918 asks, first time watching, once you remove the money from the envelopes, how do you know what money is for what category? So I keep my digital budgeting sheet updated, so I can always go in on my phone and see how much I have in my budget for the month or for the 2-week period that I planned for. And I'm pretty good at like estimating it at this point, like in my head, like how much I've spent, because I track every single one of my expenses. So I know in my videos I don't have my laptop like in view or my iPad in view. I used to do it in my earlier videos, so I would definitely go back and take a look at those. It's usually off to the side and I'm looking at my Google Sheet, which has everything laid out. So just to be clear, I budget every 2 weeks because that's when my paycheck comes in, and I unstuff almost every single week to make sure that I am staying in my budget range. Sometimes I even unstuff the moment I get home after going shopping. So that's why I don't really film unstuffings, just because I feel like it's more helpful for me to do it right away. And then with that question, I received one on Instagram and it was, how did you make your templates? I love it. Thank you so much for purchasing my template and loving it. I honestly just make up the templates, guys. I think it's more like iterations over time of what I want in a budgeting sheet. And so it's kind of evolved over like the past 10 years to what it is now. So you're really getting the best of the best as I'm learning, and I do anticipate in the future that it's going to keep evolving and it's going to keep getting better. I'm super excited about the dashboard that I launched earlier this year, which is my 1-year overview one. It is kind of like the most expensive one. It's like $11.99 on my Etsy, and the reason for it is because it took so much time to build and learn out all of the formulas. So if you're like in the Google Sheet, you can actually see the formulas in there, and it's actually quite like a taxing process to build a Google Sheet because there's so many formulas and they have to layer correctly across all of the tabs, all of the cells, and you have to make sure it's formatted correctly. I know it sounds kind of boring, so I'm not gonna get into it, but like Google Sheets is something that I love messing around with. And this most recent Google Sheet is so cool because of the overview dashboard, which gives you all 12 months in a single dashboard, so you can see like where did you spend all of your money in the year, what category was it in, and it shows you all of your income, your total amount of expenses, and like graphs for them, so you can actually see like a graph how you track for the whole year. So it's actually really cool, and I really love the goal planning aspect of that year overview dashboard. I think I did my goal planning for that at the beginning of the year, so definitely check out that video. Alrighty, so the next question I received are about my golden bills, and people ask all the time, what are these bills? And I think people who are new to the community have never seen like a placeholder bill or understand what it is. So the golden bills are items that I've made, so you can buy those actually on my Etsy, and what those golden placeholders represent is money that's already sitting in my high yields bank account. I use Ally for my high yield savings account, and I make 3.7% APY. The golden bills essentially just denote like how much money I have in the bank for that category. That way I'm not like keeping a lot of money at home, and I know that like, let's say in my emergency fund I have a $10,000 bill in there. I know that I have $10,000 saved. It's not sitting in cash on my table at that moment, but it's $10,000 that's sitting in my bank account accruing interest in my high yield savings account. And then Emma asked a really interesting question here, and I was wondering how the in the bank money works with the envelopes. So in Ally, and maybe I'll put a picture up here. So Ally lets you create buckets, which essentially is just your own categories in your high yield savings account, so that you can track for and even like goal plan for how much money you want to save for your high yield savings account. So in my high yield savings account, I have an emergency bucket, I have a house fund bucket, a car bucket, all the buckets that I need, so that I know where all my savings are supposed to be sitting in what category. So hopefully that makes sense and the picture makes sense. All right, so moving on to APY, which is annual percentage yield. I got a question from Juliana. Wouldn't it yield more money to invest it instead of keeping cash in a safe? I also had the same question when I was first learning about cash stuffing. The answer to that is yes, I would make more money leaving it in a high yield savings account. However, I actually make more money filming my content on YouTube and doing it this way. So in the long run, I actually make more money doing YouTube. And it's not to say that this money doesn't go back into my high yield savings account, because every quarter I do a condensing and it does get put into my high yield savings account. So I am still accruing interest. It's just every quarter I'm putting it in instead of like every month. All right, so I got a question. Actually, I've gotten a couple questions about my ATM. I just couldn't find all of them when I was digging through my YouTube. So a little bit about my ATM. I put any extra savings from my variable expenses, which is like my groceries, gas, drink, dining, whatever that I don't use from just my variable expenses, gets put into my ATM every 2 weeks. And that's how I like to like save that extra cash instead of like rolling over for the next 2 weeks and spending it. And the way that I use this, because I've gotten a lot of questions on how to use it after a few of my subscribers have purchased it. It is quite loud when you first get it. I've already turned off the voice on my ATM. I cannot recall how I did it, but I believe I just like turned down the volume all the way. Someone asked me how I opened this, and honestly I kind of forgot my password, so let me try to figure that out. So I went ahead and put in my passcode, and the red light turns on and it just opens, and you can see that I've already started saving some money. So let me go ahead and pull this out. So we have until next year to open this back up, so no worries. This is actually the instruction manual that I keep at the bottom of it. And okay, so I did write the instructions down on how to lower down the volume because that was asked quite a bit. So first things first, it says click time and then do the plus button or the minus button to turn down the volume, and that was it. So hopefully that answered whoever's question that asked me that. And I keep the manual at the very bottom of this just so that like if anything happens I can just like refer to it, because I know that I will probably mess something up at some point, so it's really been helpful to keep it, as you can clearly see. And then how this works, and I'll try to show you too, is actually I had 2 ATMs. This is my second one. My first one was actually the one that was taller and skinnier, and it also rolls in money, but I ended up getting this one just because I liked being able to slide in money this way, and I liked being able to slide money in this way. I will say this machine is a lot louder in comparison to the one that was like taller and skinnier. But the thing I love about this ATM is that you can grab a coin here and put it in the coin slot, and it will actually count your money. And I don't know if you can actually see that, but it did count my money. It tracks the size of the coin and then counts it. And then you can actually add money in here. So all you have to do is insert the card and then click note deposit. And then you can add in whatever amount. So let me just pretend that's like $20. Click again, note deposit, and then I'll put that $20 to the total amount in your ATM machine and track it for you. Clearly, I don't track any of this money because I want it to be a surprise when I unbox it. So I'm gonna go ahead and click withdrawal and subtract the $21 that I added in there, and then click withdrawal again. Insert your password because it's gonna make you open the machine. So that's gonna be, so I went ahead and opened it, and then you just open it, and once you open it, it will withdraw that money from your amount. So love this machine so much. It's just like me being a child at heart. So highly recommend it. I bought it on Amazon, and I have everything linked in my description as always, so feel free to check there first for anything that you might want from any of my videos. Alrighty, so that was how to use the ATM. Now on to some questions about my new job and how much do I get paid. Okay, so just to give you guys an idea of how I started and where I am now, I started off with $55,000 for my first job, and that was in 2021. 2022, I started making $70,000. That same year, when I was laid off and I got a new job in May, I ended up taking a pay cut, so I made $67,000. By 2023, I was back up at $70,000. And then by 2024 I was up to $73,000, and now that we're in 2025 and I just got my new job at an amazing beauty company, I now make $90,000. So I did have a 25% hop in pay. Now that I'm 26, I think that's a really good salary for my age. I know some people make more, some people make less, and that's totally okay. I will say this, please learn from me and start making other streams of income, because after being laid off in New York, the one thing I promised myself was that I would try to diversify my income. Just like stocks, how you diversify your portfolio by investing in stocks or bonds or whatever, you also need to diversify your income, because you cannot think that your 9 to 5 is your sole income. That was the mistake I made at 22, 23, living in New York and having gotten laid off, thinking that I was not disposable to any company. So I really truly believe, now that I am where I am, that Etsy, YouTube, now Airbnb, having these other streams of income are going to help me create the life that I've always dreamed of, and that's one where I have the freedom of choice. I have the freedom to choose if I want to work, I have the freedom to stay home if I wanted to, I have the freedom of time, and that is invaluable. So that is how much I get paid now. I'm very transparent about all of this, especially because you get to see how much comes out of my paychecks and things like that. I do not pay for myself from Airbnb, so I just want to note this now because I did get an Airbnb as of April 1st, and I don't intend to take any money from the business for at least a year, maybe a year and a half, so that I can just pay back all of the expenses that went into it, but also have enough money should there be like any slow months or anything like that, and then maybe invest into a second property come next year. So another question I got about this is, what is your marketing degree, and did you go to school full-time or part-time? I kind of put this in this category just because I think it ladders up into my career. I don't have a marketing degree, guys. I graduated from UCLA with a sociology degree. I don't have a marketing degree, guys. I literally got into marketing because that was something I was interested in, and I took some contract work being in paid advertising, and I went into advertising first, and now I moved into more of a retention space for marketing. So honestly, my degree didn't really help me with my career. All right, on to the next question. So this bucket is going to be around Airbnb, and Renee Taylor here said, can you please share more on your Airbnb journey? What types of properties you have already and how you acquired them? You're doing so well with money management. Well done. Thank you. I love that. Okay, I feel like this is going to be a long one, so I'll try to condense it down a bit. So I started my Airbnb journey in February of 2023. I ended up dropping $7,500 on a Airbnb mentor that I found on Instagram. I know that sounds so sketch, guys. I honestly don't like my mentor that much. I think he was not that great of a mentor, but I will say the community that I was a part of, because I joined his mentorship, was the most helpful to help me get into the mindset and also to network with people in that group. So because of that, I actually became quite close with another host in my area, and she just got her first Airbnb, and I was talking to her about her experiences. We went to like a coffee shop and like met up and everything, and I was having a difficult time because I'm in a really tough market. There are a lot of Airbnbs where I live, and also the profit margins have to make sense, especially where I live, because there's so many Airbnbs, and it has to have top-notch amenities. Because I had networked with this person ended up giving me her Airbnb, I think like 6 months later, because she didn't like it. It wasn't for her. She started another company more in alignment with her passion, and she actually asked me if I would be willing to take it over and pay her out for the business. So that's exactly how I acquired my first Airbnb, guys. And I'm so grateful because the landlords that I rent the property from are super kind. They want me to succeed. And so I think it was just like the best of the best situation for everyone. So the type of property I have is a 3-bedroom home. It's a standalone home. It has a pool and a jacuzzi, so that's like a really big amenity to have in my area. It differentiates me from properties that don't have those amenities. I will say come June or July, I do anticipate dropping maybe $5,000 to do a redesign of the property so that it includes a theater room with a massive TV with a new couch sectional, and it is going to get a revamp with a game room addition. So it's going to have either a pool table or a hockey table, we'll see, and then a few arcade games. So it's gonna get better, and my idea is to invest into the property now so that I can get more bookings and increase my margin. So it's gonna be a really cool redesign. I'm really excited about it. Something I want to know about my Airbnb journey too is this was something I've been thinking about since college, maybe even high school, guys. So it's been something that I wanted to do for more than 5 years. So it was like a no-brainer to get a mentor. I don't know if it's necessary for everyone to get a mentor if you just want to learn from some gurus on YouTube. I did that for a couple years and I just got nowhere with it. I felt like I didn't have the motivation after like learning it on YouTube to like go out and do it. But it wasn't until I joined the community and saw everyone's wins or losses, like what they learned, and having people actually mentor me that it finally like clicked, and I started actually reaching out to more landlords to see if it was something they wanted to do. I did get a couple of yeses, but they weren't like profitable properties in the end after we ran more in-depth analysis. I will say the one hard thing about it is that you have to be pretty aware of the markets and call right away and like be the first to pitch to a landlord. And that was something that was really hard for me, was time, because of my previous job, and I kind of spoke to this previously, but my previous job did not allow me much time to work through it during the day. Even though I worked from home, I worked every single minute from the moment I woke up to the moment it was 5 p.m. So it was just such a stressful job, and I'm really thankful that I no longer work there. And so with this new role that I have, it's a little bit more lax. I have a little bit more control of my time, and I'm not in an agency where I'm like working with multiple clients. I'm directly in-house for a brand. So I do anticipate that come next year, when I make a little bit more money back from my current Airbnb, I will start looking for my second property. So into the next category. This category is about my YouTube setup and editing tips. So I got from Miss Emma Jane, love you. Thank you for always commenting, Emma. I love seeing your comments. She says, hello, Miss Golden Girl. I know you film on your iPhone. What apps, sites do you use to edit? So I do film on my iPhone 12 Pro. I do anticipate to buy a new iPhone this year so that I have more storage and just like an upgraded camera. I use iMovie, guys, on my Mac. I export it out as a 1080 because that's all you can do on iMovie, and it's been fine. You don't need all this fancy stuff to start a YouTube channel, so I don't pay anything for additional software. The camera mount that I use, I will link down below in the comments. I've gone through 3 camera mounts to get to this point, guys, and I truly believe this is the best camera mount I've used. I used to have one that clipped onto my table and craned over, but over time it would just like break. Like it got really wobbly, and if you like even touched the desk and moved it even a little bit, everything would shake. And I also had like a standalone camera mount where it was like behind me. No, did not like that. It was just so hard to get the right angle because I had to sit in front of my setup, but also the arm wasn't long enough to like sit behind my chair. So it was like me being kind of crooked in the first like couple videos that I've had. So yeah, I definitely think having a stand that sits on the table right in front of you and cranes over is so much more helpful. So I will leave that linked down below. Another question from Sorta Soft Budget. Love the video as always. I'm planning on starting my own cash budgeting channel soon. Any tips, Golden? Well, thank you for watching my video. All you need is your iPhone, this camera stand, which was like $30–40, and just definitely have your binders and cash envelopes set up. I feel like that's all you need to start. In terms of editing, I've taken a lot of my own personal experience from watching content into editing it the way that I would want to see it. So for me, I personally enjoy a little bit of ASMR at the beginning, so that's what I do for my videos. You do not have to do that. I also have watched cash stuffing channels that like count out the money at the very beginning, and I love that too. It's kind of just finding your own taste of how you want to film. When it comes to editing, maybe I'll get into the nitty-gritty of it, but I make sure to increase my audio range always at the start before editing, and I always clip out any pauses or ums or things like that just to make the video more fluid. It does take additional time. There are cash stuffers on here that don't edit their videos at all and they just upload it. Totally fine too. For me, I personally find like videos that are a little bit quicker keep my attention a little bit longer. It's kind of funny, guys. I don't know if you noticed this, but all of my videos are slightly sped up. I speed them up by like 5 or 10% just because I do think that when making content, I talk slower. So I try to speed it up a little bit so that when you're actually watching it, like it's not like super slow. So I don't know if anyone else does that, but I do that. For my cash condensings, if you see the way that video looks, it's a little bit different from like my cash stuffings in the sense that all of the clips of me putting away the money is sped up, so that takes a lot of time. My cash condensings are by far the videos that take me the longest to edit. So yeah, just finding your own taste. So the next question surrounds like my identity and my boyfriend, and established 1991 wrote, how long have you and your boyfriend been together? How did y'all meet? Will you ever reveal your identity? That is such a good question, actually. Me and my boyfriend have been together for 3 years now, and we met through a mutual friend. He used to live in a frat house, guys. So it's kind of funny because I had just graduated from college and moved back home, and he at the time was still living in this little frat house. Like half the house had graduated, the other half hadn't. And so I actually like came over to hang out with some friends and I met him there. So it was like by accident. The moment that we like looked at each other, I think we were instantly like attracted to each other because he came over and said hi, and then from there it was just kind of like a whirlwind. It's kind of funny because from that moment, the day that we met, I hadn't seen him for 3 more months after that. That was in December. Then by actually 2 months, by February, I ended up seeing him again at the house. And that's when he invited me to go to a rooftop bar with his friends, and that sealed it, guys. And he is the love of my life. I love that man so much. The last part of this question is, will you ever reveal your identity? Honestly, I've gone back and forth about this, and at this point in time, I'm leaning towards no. And the reason I feel strongly about this is because, one, I just want my YouTube channel to solely be about my journey. A part of that is I get to say things I wouldn't naturally say. I do show you all of my finances. I don't quite know if I feel comfortable with people in my circle knowing too much about my finances. I don't want to be a target of like someone trying to steal money either. Like, my fear is like someone robbing me. So having my identity be anonymous also protects me in a way. It's kind of funny because when I was younger, I always wanted to be a YouTuber, and I always imagined myself being a public face. But now that I've grown up and experienced life a little bit more, I feel like I want my privacy. I don't know if I could handle hate or like the lack of privacy and people knowing my business. So that's why I'm leaning towards staying anonymous. And it's kind of crazy because I sometimes get hate on my YouTube channel. People have too much time on their hands to be spreading hate. So all I just want to say is please be kind, spread love. There's too much hate in this world. I truly want this channel to be uplifting, a safe space. So please be respectful. Okay. Did you always know that you wanted a career in marketing? No, I truly believed I was going to be a doctor, guys. Both my older sisters are doctors. After watching them go through medical school, I was like, heck no. Do not want to do that. So when I actually went to UCLA, I intended to be a biology major. Then I went to sociology. So honestly, what a whirlwind of an experience, because none of that mattered, because in the end I ended up doing marketing, which was the second thing I wanted to do after being a doctor. So yeah, that's like such an Asian experience, I feel like, being told to be a doctor. But I really did fully intend to. I had a medical internship in high school that I completed 250 hours for, I believe, and I had rotations in so many departments, from cardiac acute, cardiac ICU, emergency and trauma units, and then radiology, which was so fun. Honestly, I learned so much and got to see some insane things. Do you think that cash stuffing has changed your life? How long do you think you'll stick with it? Yes, guys, absolutely. Cash stuffing has changed my life. This has been the most insane, happiest, funnest journey I've ever been on. Can't English anymore. Will I do it forever? I don't know. I think at some point I won't need to cash stuff. This is more to get in a better financial place until I, in my head, make so much money that I don't need to cash stuff anymore. I'll just do it all digitally at that point. But for now, it is working, and that's all I know. All right, business and personal goals. So Shanta is Cash. Oh, I love that name. Your business goals are amazing. Do you have any personal goals? Any smaller things you're saving for? It's the little things in life. I'll probably be getting engaged and married to my boyfriend. We had little talks about it now that we've been dating for 3 years, about getting a little bit more serious. So I feel like in the next couple years, I definitely want to be married and buy a house. That is literally like the goal that I've been setting my mind to. Any smaller things you're saving for? I think smaller things that I would love to save for would be a car. I mean, that's still a big expense, but I already saved, I think, $5,500. Don't quote me, I can't quite remember at the top of my head. $5,500 as of right now, and my goal is to hit 10K so that I can just buy myself a used car. But otherwise, the thing that like gets me most excited is to save a $1,000 anniversary gift to myself, which is just gonna be a gold piece of jewelry. I really want to start my gold collection. I love the look and feel of jewelry. I feel like it makes me feel pretty. It is so valuable. Like, gold is valuable and you can resell those things, so it doesn't really lose too much value. I try to find good deals too. So yeah, that's something that I really enjoy, is starting to build up my gold jewelry collection. Business goals wise, I would love to scale my Airbnb business to at least 5 properties within the next 2 years. I think for me, long term, by the time I'm 30, I would ideally not like to work a typical 9-to-5 job. So that's the goal, guys. When I say financial freedom, it's actually building streams of income that don't require me to work like a 9-to-5. So would love to build out my Airbnb business. What else? And I would really truly love to build up Golden into a brand, launch my own Shopify e-commerce. My job is marketing, so I feel like I would be so good at doing that. I just wish there was more time in the day, guys. Truly, I wish there was more time in the day and that I had exponential energy, because it does become a lot to run a YouTube channel, do Airbnb, sell things on Etsy, and I want to do more with my time, but I am doing the best that I can. Alrighty, so on to the last and final part of this video, which is explaining my categories. So let me go ahead and put this laptop away. So first things first, we're gonna start with my variable expenses. What does variable expenses even mean? Because I've thought about this when I first started learning about cash stuffing, and variable expenses is just like anything that you pay month to month that isn't like completely fixed, which is kind of funny because my bills are in here too, so I kind of just put them all together. But variable expenses would be like groceries and dining and gas and things like that. So drinkity drink is just purely for me to get drinks, whether that be a smoothie, coffee, tea. I just like to have it so that if I go to a coffee shop and like work from there, I can get myself a drink. Gas is pretty self-explanatory. So is groceries. Dining is just for eating out. Spending, this is just like miscellaneous spending. If like I'm going to a gas station and I want to pick up something, like I'll pull it from spending. Or if I'm going to Target to pick up like a pack of gum or something random, you know, like I just have it here. Rent is for rent. I live at home, guys. I live with my parents and I pay $400 in rent and the $50 for my phone bill. So that's why it's $450. I just put my rent and my phone bill together. I want to say I'm very lucky that my parents let me live with them. I know I'm 26. I do intend to move out. I just want to get myself in a really good financial place to do that, especially in this economy. I feel like people live with their parents longer, and it makes sense because to buy a house, you really got to think about these things. Like you can't just buy a house for like $75,000 the way you could like 50 years ago. Yes, I live at home. Car insurance goes to car insurance, so that's $128 a month that I pay. Fitness is for my ClassPass membership. I truly think that physical health is so important. I do ClassPass 2 to 3 times a week, and I do hot Pilates, and I think it has helped me with my mental health. It's helped me with my sleep pattern. It's helped me deal with stress from work. Truly believe that working out is such a fundamental thing that you should be doing for yourself. So highly recommend ClassPass, and I'll leave my ClassPass referral down below as well. Give is to give to others. Typically, I give this money to any homeless person that I see, or if someone is being really kind, I'll tip them extra, like a delivery driver or something, or just anytime I feel like I want to give to others. I've had someone come to me and ask if I had like a quarters for like the bus, and I was like, I don't have any quarters, but here's like $5. Like definitely go inside the restaurant and ask them for some change. And they're like, oh my god, you really don't have to do that. And I was like, no, I want to do this, like please take it. And I truly feel like having a give envelope has given me more reason to give to people, because I set that money aside to give to people, so it doesn't hurt me when I do give it to them. And it's just something that I like to do, is give back. Over budget is just for if I go over budget in any of these categories, and sometimes I do, so it's nice to have that because I don't want to mess up my other envelopes. So yeah. Now going into my low priority sinking funds, and essentially what my low priority envelope is for is just like anything that I want to save for that is not necessary like a need, but more of like a want. So beauty is just for any beauty products, and I do use this envelope for like my lash extensions as well. And then clothing is pretty direct. Clothing, if I'm buying purses or shoes, also comes out of here. Hair is just for my hair if I get a haircut. Household, this is more for like toiletries or like if I want to buy furniture or decorations for my room, so I keep it in here. So entertainment is more for like going to events like festivals or going to like the movie theaters, anything that is entertaining. Date is for me and my boyfriend to go out and get some good food. Birthday is for my birthday, so I get to spend it on whatever I want. Gifts is more for like anniversaries, so like baby showers, birthdays, graduations, things like that. Holidays is for Christmas. This envelope I save a lot of money for because I have a huge family. I love to gift for Christmas. And then my love is for my boyfriend. This does not coincide with my date envelope. Date is for purely both me and him spending time together. My love is solely for him. So I like to treat my boyfriend to like Grubhub if he's having like a really bad day, or just because I love him, I like will buy him Grubhub. We are long distance, so I like to do some sweet things for him and have like this envelope to pull from. Sisters, parents, and friends, same thing. I like to treat them out to food or drinks if I see them. Honestly, really nice to be able to give and not think too much about it because I've already budgeted for them. Pet care is for like dog food and treats for my pets. I have 2 dogs. They're both Chihuahua mixes. One is a Chihuahua Yorkie and the other one's a Chihuahua Poodle. And they're both 15 years old, so they're quite old ladies now. Technology is for my iPhone. I want to save for a brand new iPhone later this year, and eventually I'll use this envelope to save for a new MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. And Uber, it's just, this should honestly say transport more than Uber because I use Lyft, or like sometimes I have to pay parking meters or like random things that have to do with transportation. So that is what it's for. And then miscellaneous is just like anything that doesn't fall in any of those categories, because sometimes I do have some random miscellaneous expenses where I don't know where to pull them from. So that's that. All right, now going into my high priority. This is everything I deem most important, guys. Seriously, like most important. So I stuff at least 50% of my income in here. It used to be at least like 70 or 65%, but that's no longer as attainable since I started my like 6 months ahead. So business is for my Etsy and YouTube. So if I am buying new products that I want to sell or trying to buy supplies and things like that, that is for business. Business taxes is any money that I make from YouTube or Etsy. I put 30% of that in here for taxes. So that's that. And then my taxes envelope is for my personal, so my 9-to-5 job. That's my personal taxes. Car is for my future car. I want to save at least $10,000. Maybe I'll go up and make it $15,000. I might move to Chicago in 1 year, so I won't really need a car then either. So maybe I'll just up it to $15,000 and save more money. We'll see. Travel is for traveling, so any airfare or hotels or things like that. I do use my credit card points a lot, so haven't had to use this in a while, so I want to save more for like a larger trip. Health is just for health, so if I need to go to the doctors, any co-pays, if there's ever a medical emergency, I have some money saved here, so I don't intend to really spend from this envelope too often. Pet emergency is for my vet bills. Both my dogs are getting pretty old, so I just want to make sure that I start saving up money for their medical expenses. And then I have my $20 savings challenge and my $50 savings challenge. I never know where this money is going to go. I just decide in the moment. Once I finish the challenges, I decide where they go after that. Emergency is just like, it's supposed to be 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. This challenge, my 6 months ahead challenge, is kind of like going to be that. A little bit more. This is just more like, I don't know, life emergencies I just don't anticipate. This money, in my head, is just gonna stay in my bank account forever. I'm never gonna touch it. So that's that. House fund is for my future house. I really want to save $15,000 this year. I'm gonna make it a point to accomplish that. And then Roth IRA is for my retirement investment. I max this out every year since 2023. So it is gonna be a priority of mine to do that. I've just seen so many videos of people saying like you can become a millionaire if you invest your Roth IRA when you're young, because over time all that money grows and the interest grows on it. So that is what I'm doing, guys. My Roth IRA. I know that people also have 401ks. I do not have a 401k match at my company, so I would prefer to do a Roth IRA because it's post-tax money going into my Roth IRA instead of pre-tax money that goes into a 401k. But the thing that I love about the Roth IRA is that it will not be taxed when you take it out when you're like 59 and a half or whatever the age limit is, and you're also allowed to take the money that you put in it without any penalties. So the $20,000 that I have put in it, I can technically take out without any penalties. You just can't take out any of the money that you made in the market. So like any of the margin that you made, you can't take out. So that's a win-win for me. Not that I ever intend to take money out of my Roth IRA, I just do like that option. Whereas 401k, There are benefits if you have a match. I don't have a match, so that's why I'm not contributing to my 401k. A 401k, you put your pre-tax dollars in it. It comes out of your paycheck. Your employer has to have a 401k program for you to actually use it. The idea that you get taxed at 59.5 when you take it out on the whole amount of money doesn't sit right with me, because inflation, like, that's just worse off in the future. So it only really makes sense to me to invest in my 401k if I had a employer match, because that's 100% ROI. Yeah, I don't contribute to my 401k. I do my Roth IRA. So that's that. Alrighty guys, so that was everything about my envelopes. I hope I hit all of the topics and questions that you might have. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate it. It drives great engagement for my video. And if you made it to this part of the video, please leave a coffee emoji down below so I know that you made it to this point of the video, and subscribe if you enjoyed this type of content. And I will catch you guys on my next video. Bye!